We kick off the fun series of Stargate SG-1 with Daniel returning while Carter loudly announces to everyone that he's been given a massive dose of radiation. Might as well be yelling, "Dead man walking," as she follows him around. Radiation exposure is just about as close as you can get on this Earth to being damned. Even the Mayo Clinic website lists the treatment to include managing the unbearable pain and possible pastoral care. And nothing says your prognosis is grim if the list of treatments actually includes get a priest. After the titles, Hammond wants to know what got Daniel into this mess. He may be the king of bad choices, but even he knows enough not to play with something radioactive. Well, probably. Carter explains what happened. The planet they went to has 3 big countries that are basically very mistrustful of each other. This particular country unearthed the Stargate and Gould artifacts, and are naturally very excited at the prospect of trading information with Earth. And one of the people they meet is Jonas Quinn, a scientist working here at one of their most top-secret facilities. Basically, this whole situation is akin to meeting another SGC, just half a century less advanced.
I understand from our leaders that your knowledge and expertise will come at a price, Colonel. That is why you're here, right?
Well, don't get me wrong. We want to help out as much as we can. It's just that we've been burned a little bit in the past.
Hell, by some of our own people at times. Yes, we are looking at you, Mayborn. Jonas shows them around, including a place where people in radiation suits are working, so I think we can guess where this is going. Jonas introduces them to Lee, who explains about this thing that they found in a Gould temple, Naquadria. Daniel corrects them to Naquadah, but they say no, they've heard of Naquadah, and this isn't it. So, it's something new and more powerful. That is good news. The bad news is that they're using it to build a bomb. They say it's strictly to serve as a deterrent, but Hammond recognizes the very delicate situation involved in a potential nuclear standoff. That is a situation diplomats referred to as shit getting real. But O'Neill says not to worry. They screwed this up so badly the locals aren't going to want their help. Seems that Daniel, shockingly, was really laying it on about how that bomb was a bad, very bad idea. That was bad. Then something happened. They accused him of trying to sabotage them and demand that, if he somehow survives, that he be returned to face charges against them. That's a big if.
The nausea will be followed by tremors, convulsions, and something called ataxia. Surface tissue, brain tissue, and internal organs will inflame and degrade. I believe that's called necrosis.
And the worst part is they have to cross off that whole pastoral care thing on account of Daniel is technically in the god-killing business.
And based on the dose of radiation I got, all that will happen in the next 10 to 15 hours. And if I don't drown in my own blood and fluids first, I will bleed to death, and there is no medical treatment to prevent that.
Okay, that's the longest answer I've ever gotten to how's it going. Jack suggests finding help from one of the other races, but Daniel points out it's not exactly their policy whenever anyone's life is threatened around here to go running off for an alien to sort it out. Jack is already on this, though, trying to get hold of the Asgard or the Tok'ra, and soon pushing to retrieve a sarcophagus they know about, but that is too heavily defended. So, with aliens off the table, Jack turns to the less pleasant topic of what the hell happened exactly. Daniel says he was trying to explain to the locals that this experiment they're trying, it nearly blew up the planet when the Gould tried it. And that was the Gould, who know more about this stuff than guys who have yet to invent the microchip. On the other front, Carter has been examining the effects of the radiation pulse, and while this naturally sucks for Daniel, the energy released is so impressive, it indicates that this could be a power source to allow them to make things like the shields that the Gould ships use. They need that. And that means opening diplomatic relations. And that means disavowing Daniel's actions. They're not admitting he did anything, only that if he did do something, he was doing it without their sanction. Jack thinks this still stinks, but he follows orders and delivers the letter.
It's an apology.
Yeah, hardly. See, we know you're lying through your teeth.
And all letters come delivered with a smile. O'Neill is, try not to be surprised, very frank with Jonas about this situation, and how large the pile of manure is in this particular case. He wants Jonas to at least come clean rather than letting them blame Daniel, even if he is dying far from this planet. Don't let his memory be one of shame over something that he didn't do. But for Jonas, there's a more serious reality, that the other nations are developing their own WMDs, and not having an answer leaves them ready for conquest. But O'Neill says the thing about a WMD is that you have to use it to have an effect. It may be only once, but you can't just claim to have it and be convincing. So you have to be prepared for the fact that you are building something that will kill people, besides the one who are already dying just from the research. Of course, we only have a limited picture of the situation. While we might be considering this a parallel to the Manhattan Project, we also know that that program's impetus was because of the Axis work on developing an atomic bomb themselves. I mean, even Japan had a program to create atomic weapons, which I'm sure shocks you as much as it shocked me. I figured they'd make giant robots. As for Daniel, things are grim. So grim that even Dr. Fraser is saying that maybe the kindest thing they can do is euthanasia. All he has to look forward to is an extremely painful death. Knowing it's that bad, Carter figures she'll try the Hail Mary, the healing device that she got way back when.
It's easy.
I think maybe an actual Hail Mary might have been more helpful. Well, Daniel finally passes out and finds himself walking out of darkness and into the gate room, where a woman awaits him.
Your fate is in your hands.
I want to narrow that down, because I'd like my fate to be the billionaire owner of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, and I doubt that's one that I'm going to get to pick. Back in the real world, where Daniel is starting to look like he took fashion advice from the Invisible Man, O'Neill takes some time to let him know that he tried to get Jonas to understand Daniel's point, and that no matter what, no one is going to make Daniel the fall guy here.
Why do you care?
He's going to say, 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 he's going to say.
Because despite the fact that you've been a terrific pain in the ass for the last 5 years,
I gotta tell you, I really hate having to break these things up while you're stuck waiting to find out what he's going to say in this emotional moment.
might have grown to admire you a little, I think.
You softy, you cribbed that from a Hallmark card, didn't you?